Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC, everybody. I'm Ken, and today you already know what we're looking at. We're looking at this guy. This is the newest SCX24. It's a Power Wagon. It's on the Gladiator wheelbase, so it's a little bit longer wheelbase than the rest, and there's a bunch of little upgrades, just little different things that improve this thing over the previous iterations, and we're going to go into it. We also snagged, I know it's a little late on the review, I just want to kind of deeper dive into it a little bit, and eventually we're going to do some upgrades. Got a bunch of axial upgrades. Even got this Tech drop-in motor, which these guys can take brushless systems without having to change out your electronics, your stock remote and whatnot. So that's awesome. And we'll get into that in another video. But for this one, let's dive into this guy and definitely check it out. All right, let's go ahead and work our way through this guy. We already ran it. We couldn't wait to run it. We went up to the mountains and we're like, all right, we're going to take the new Power Wagon, even if we haven't done a review on it yet. So it's got a little dirt on the tires, a couple little battle damages. But I'll tell you what, it ran fantastic. It was fun, for sure. Here we go. So we've got headlights on this guy, no taillights. There are some spots for taillights, but they're not really buckets. They do look like they could pop out, and you could pop some LEDs in there, or maybe just glue LEDs in there. You're just going to have to worry about spillover, like the light spilling out. But I don't know, you could build a styrene little light box. It would have been nice if this was boxed in just a little bit, right? If they were able to box in this bumper, get us the ability to put lights in there without being too much of a hassle. But it looks like you're going to have to build something for that. But that's okay. They do look good. I like the look of it for sure. Also, this little guy right here, trailer hitch. Yeah, buddy. Pops out the little pin. Pull out your license plate, and then you can throw a trailer hitch in there. Most people know this guy was released at the same time as this, and we'll be doing a video showing this. And it's got the trailer hitch you can just drop right in there, as well as an actual mountable hitch for other trucks that don't have the slide-in trailer hitch. So that's pretty cool. I like that this just uses a body clip to go in there. You don't have to screw anything or unscrew anything, so pretty cool. While we're back here, this tailgate lifts up and opens, so that's pretty sweet. You know, it would have been a really cool graphic to have. Would have been a toolbox graphic here, like, you know, the slider drawers. Those could have been like slider drawers, just a graphic of 4 drawers to slide out. That would have been pretty sweet, because that would make sense with the way this is set up. This is having to be raised up because you need clearance for the shocks and all that good stuff. So that's why it's not a full depth bed. Got our kind of fuel cell or toolbox there. It is a hard body, obviously. All of the molding stuff is pretty good, pretty well done. These mirrors fold in and out, so that's pretty sweet. So if you're scraping along a rock, it's not going to just break. It can fold in. Hopefully that means they'll last a little longer. I don't know. We'll see. A lot of times this kind of stuff breaks off, but these guys are bendy and they fold, so we should be okay. These little light buckets here are sweet. It'd be really cool to get some LEDs in there, but they are tiny, so you'd have to do some micro LEDs and use a very tiny Dremel bit, make it work. But it's very cool. Detail for sure. They also have, let me turn off the lights here. Oh, you know what? There's no light switch on here. For some reason, I was thinking there was a light switch on there. So you can't turn off the lights, but we can turn her off for now. That way you can see the details here. Some little turn signal lights. Pretty cool. All of our stickers. Just great detail on this guy, for sure. Could have been cool to have holes here for some lights in the bumper. I don't know, maybe that changed the look. Maybe we don't need that. You can always put your own holes and lights in there if you want to put lights in the bumper there. The body interior. It's kind of hard to see in there. There you go. We got a light. And you can see that there's 2 drivers in there. One with a forward hat. And the passenger's got a rear-facing hat. He's got his hat on backwards. I know it's hard to see, guys. Sorry. I do wish the windows weren't quite so tinted. I think part of it's because it's an all-black interior, so it just makes it hard to see in there. But you can definitely see the 2 drivers. It's harder to see on camera for sure. The guy's face is the same face on both, though. But at least it's got its hat on differently, so that's nice. Interior is just looks like 4 screws here. Here, let's go ahead and pop it out. I just want to look. All the screws are hexes. They're all 1.3 millimeter, M1.4 size threads. So that's cool. No Phillips anywhere on here that I know of. Maybe on the drive shaft. Nope, even the drive shaft is a hex head. So big kudos to Axial, always bringing the hexes. It's interesting how this runs, the wire runs through the interior there. But there you go. Pretty slick interior, actually. So these are actually totally molded like this. Let me snip this little piece right here so I can get this off. There we go. You can always pop it back in there. But yeah, so that's a cool piece. You can order these separately with the body, I believe. So if you want to pick it up, it's even got a shifter in there. Man, we might have to paint this up so it's a little lighter so you can see it a little better through the windows. Maybe even light it up. I don't know, put a dome light in there. That could be cool. Anyway, pretty cool. Molded heads. Dig it. Okay. Also, I guess while we have this out, I'll show this. The bed is independent of the cab. So you can do a half cab. Bam. So how cool is that? You can put a new cab on there, keep your bed, or use the half cab and get rid of the bed. You have to find a way to mount it for sure in the rear here somehow, maybe some slider mounts or something like that. But how cool is that? And you could, I mean, like you see here, if you really want to, leave the bed and the half cab and have a dump truck. Actually, making that servo actuated could be pretty sick. You just need to find a way to mount the front cab stable. But man, it's cool that they're separate, right? So you can run a half cab with a cage, remove this whole bed. That'd be pretty slick. I mean, even the rear mount on this guy. Hold on. We're just going to take it all apart. Disassembly. Some disassembly required. Bam. No, I don't know why. Oh, because it runs along the back. Yeah, you got to rerun your wire so it's not running through there and just runs only to your cab. Boom. Pretty cool. And actually, hold on. What if we snagged up a Tinker Time rear cage and threw that guy on there? Ooh, buddy. It's kind of hard to show because, well, we have to get it on the rail. But you can actually just literally remove your shock mounts and your shocks. You have to relocate your battery, which is fine. And this guy will drop right on there. And you've got all these different shock mounting positions. And this guy will butt right up in there. That'll look cool. You might have to cut these tabs off or do some work on here so that those tabs will drop in. And maybe that's how you mount the rear of the body. So you can still have this open up. No problem. And slide it in and drop it down. And maybe it'll lock in with these tabs. That could be pretty slick though. So you can do kind of a Honcho Power Wagon 4-door. How cool could that be? I don't even know if these are the same. They are the same. I thought I got 2 different ones. Anyway, so that's cool. These are Tinker Time cages. I think that could be really slick. Shoot, we might do that. Anyway, all right, let's get back to the stock truck. The stock truck. So as you saw, it came with this new branded battery. It's a Spectrum branded. Still the same 350 we're used to, 30C 2S, but it is now labeled Spectrum. Got the same motor that we're used to, the little 130 guy. So this is the new Spectrum 2-in-1 ESC. I believe this is the exact same guy that comes on the AX. It is the 2-in-1 with the channel 2 on it. Here's the AX, the exact same thing, 2-in-1 10 amp ESC RX, the SPMX SE2425 RX. Okay, So, and you can see here, we've already got our FearTech Lizard Pro installed. Just plugs right into your channel 2, which is awesome. You have a channel 2 pass-through, which means if you ever wanted to put like a sound module or anything like that, you've got a place to plug that in. Even if you don't go brushless, you need a channel 2 for the sound module to know you're giving it throttle or letting off or whatever. So super cool to have channel 2. I think this is one of the better things that Axial has done to help people really enjoy this line when they want to upgrade and stuff like that. They don't have to rip out all the electronics. You can use your stock remote, which is very cool. I do wish that it came with the same remote as the AX, with the switch in it, so that you could do 4-wheel steer if you wanted to switch this guy up and add a servo and axle. You don't have to change your electronics. Unfortunately, this is a different remote. This guy is the SLT2, whereas the AX comes with the SLT3. Now, I don't know if these will bind. We should try. Let's try. I'm going to try right now, actually. Where's our battery? Here's our battery. We'll go ahead and... Wait, I don't know how to bind these. Actually, it uses a bind plug. So I'm sitting here searching around for the bind plug. As one thing I do dislike about bind plug electronics, man. Like the V1 and V2 super nice. You just bind it from the remote. Turn on the remote, while you're holding bind, turn on the ESC, and it binds. Bind plugs are such a pain. I really don't know why. This is just an older technology, I guess. I don't know, maybe they really get it cheaper, and so that's why they can include it in their radio runs, but where is bind plugs? Where are they?
A few moments later.
All right, I found some bind plugs. Not the one that came with it, because I just can't find it. But look, this sucks. So I don't know if it's this bind plug that goes side by side, or if it's the one that are the 2 outside pins. I think it's this guy, so we're going to run with this guy. And yeah, just hate that. I hate that. All right, so we'll go ahead and throw this guy in here to bind it. We'll make sure we can bind to our SLT3. Oh, of course. So this one has a slot on it. Hold on. Do I have another one of these somewhere? I think I do.
More moments later.
All right. This one doesn't have the little ridge on it. So I'm pretty sure this might be the one that came with it. I don't know. I have a couple around my desk and I'm not sure which one it is. So we'll try this one. Hopefully we don't catch on fire. No, that shouldn't happen. All right. So we'll go ahead and plug her in. As a new person, if you ever change your motor, never plug your battery into your motor. It will fry this. Just reminding the new guys out there. All right, so I guess we turn this on first. And then we do this? No. Whoa. I'll turn this off. There we go. So it does bind, so that's good. So if you have an AX24 or an SLT3, you should be able to use this for your rear steer modes. Let's get a servo and test it. So this guy should just, oh man, again, with the slots. So annoying. Because these have little guide slider thingies. That is something I do not like. That's annoying. All right, so that's channel 1, 2, and then 3. There we go. There we go. It does. Awesome. So it's the same receiver, just different transmitter. So now you know. SLT3 works with this guy. Would have been nice if they just included the SLT3, but I get it. Cost savings where you can. And just a fun little note, if you do have an AX, again, when you go brushless, you don't use this motor wire, so just make sure you're not plugging into the motor wire there. But if you have an AX and you bind it up to both, you can run both. Not at the same time, right? But you don't have to rebind it. You're able to bind them both to it, and then you can use one or use the other. Just make sure that the other one's off when you're not using it. But that's nice, so I dig that. While we're talking about the remotes, we do have a steering dual rate and a steering trim. There's no throttle dual rate on this guy, but there is the throttle limiter, which is 50, 75, 100, and then steering reverse. So no throttle trim or throttle dual rate, but I think there is some stuff you can do to set endpoints and whatnot. You'll just have to check your manual. We're not going to go that deep. At least not with the electronics. I do dig these inner fenders. That's nice. Helps keep it clean with that body that they've got. Definitely dig that. They're using the same servo they always use, the AS1. I know everybody says they need to upgrade the servo, but we all upgrade the servo anyway. I think even if it came, I mean, it'd have to come with a pretty substantial upgrade, I think, before people were like, oh, that's good enough, you know. So whatever. The only thing that I don't like about this little servo is how little it is. I wish that they used something that was closer to the micro servos that most people use. That way you can just pop the servo out, put a new servo in, and not have to worry about clearance issues and things of that nature. I know it'd mean an adjustment on their part, but it would definitely make it nicer for the end user that does want to upgrade. They don't have to change out their servo tray and trim stuff to make it fit without, you know, rubbing under articulation with the little bit larger micro servos that we all use. You know, the NSDRCs, the Reefs, the AFGRCs, the OGRCs, the 3-flow 9 Torrent servo, all that kind of stuff. It's just a little bit bigger than these guys. But it is what it is. If you're SCX24 guy, you're used to that. What else we got? Same old battery tray. Like I said, the rear is a little different here. The mount is obviously different bumper. Links are typical Gladiator links. We got a 3-link in the front, 4-link in the back. Standard axles that we've known on the SCX24. Same with steering link. There's little tricks you can do. You can throw a little O-ring in there. It'll help kind of stiffen that up, make it not so floppy. Get some of that play out of there. One of the upgrades on this guy is the fact that it comes with oil-filled shocks now. So let's take a look there. So just be aware when you're pulling your wheels and tires off, you have your hex with your axle shaft pin. Don't lose those. Also, when you're putting your wheels and tires back on, don't over-tighten. You can easily over-tighten this and cause binding. You should be able to move these very easily. If you tighten them down too much, they no longer move very easily. So yeah, it's kind of stiff, a little bit stiffer. These actually feel a little bit better than the older ones. The older SCX24s, if you tighten them down just a little too much, the hex hub would compress onto the bearing, and it'd be bad times. These feel like they might have actually fixed that. So maybe these hex hub or hex wheel hexes don't push quite as hard onto the bearings, maybe. So that's good. So here's our shock. Let's go ahead and get this guy out. And these shocks are now oil-filled, which is freaking sweet. You can feel the dampening on it. The truck feels really good. You might have seen in the little box opening video, I kind of showed it. It's quick, but I showed it, the dampening and whatnot. So pretty sweet there. These are basically the same as the ProLine Big Bores. So those upgraded shocks, the ProLine upgraded shocks, these are basically the exact same. They're just plastic housings. One thing of note, you do have these different shock spring colors. The fronts are reds, and the backs, I believe, are yellow. Oh, they're green. Kind of see the green line on there. And then there's also some purples, and you can buy those on Horizon Hobby site or Axial site. They're basically just like an upgrade pack, and they are different stiffness. The green is stiffer than the red, and then the purple is the least stiff. They're actually very soft, the purples. So the reds are right in the middle, but they put the stiffer springs in the rear, these green ones, because they intend that you're going to pull the trailer with it. So you need a little bit stiffer springs in the back. Okay, let's go ahead and open this guy up. I want to open this and see what the insides looks like. We're probably going to get oil everywhere, but that's okay. I haven't seen anybody actually open these all the way up and take them apart yet. So there's no bladder in there. It's not that I can tell. Oh, there is a bladder. It just fell out. So it's just a little cap that goes on there. And then your cap goes on. So it's not like a concave or convex bladder, but there's a little piece of rubber, so that's good. Must have fell out. We didn't notice. And then let's see. How are these set up? It's like we have to unscrew it. That's fine. Wasn't sure. Sometimes they have a hex head on there that allows you to unscrew it from the shock end. Looks like this guy is going to need to be held. And really, there's probably no reason you should have to take these apart. I just want to take them apart to show you guys. what they're all constructed with. You might have to if you want to change your springs, I guess. So just keep that in mind. All right, pop. There we go. Is that a C-clip? I think that's just like a plastic C-clip. There you go. So pretty simple, straightforward design. A little bit of space for the bypass so the oil can pass through and dampen. Then let's check our O-rings. See how many O-rings and bushings we have in there. All right, there you go. Looks like you have one O-ring and one spacer or bushing. Is that it? Yeah, that's it there. And then our other O-ring here. Ta-da! So that's good. Some shocks just use double O-rings. Some are even more complex, but that's good. That's going to help them not leak as much. The fact that it's O-ring, spacer O-ring, or bushing O-ring, that should definitely help. So I dig that for sure. If you're putting these guys back together, when you put your shock shaft in, I kind of recommend putting it in before you put your cap on. If you put your cap, your O-rings in, you put your cap on, and then you try to force your shock shaft through, the threadings on your shock shaft may tear the O-rings. So do it like that, basically. Put your shock shaft in, put your O-rings and stuff in, and then put your cap on. Just because you don't want those threading. Because once this compresses down, it kind of squeezes on the O-rings. Yeah, and you could end up tearing them up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and refill this guy. This is just what we've been using, some low C shock oil. This is 20 weight, 195 CST. Go ahead and get just a little bit in there. Just until we see it start to, I forget what that effect is, but it gets concave. You can see the oil in there. Make sure we run it a little bit. That should be just about right. Go ahead and compress it just a little. Put our little cap thing on there, a little bladder, sort of a bladder. And there we go. You should be able to compress without it. If it's not compressing all the way and you feel like resistance on there, you've got too much oil in there. Okay. Don't over tighten these guys. They don't seem like they want to get too crazy tight, so you could over tighten them, strip them out. Just make sure it's snug. You should be good to go. Yeah, I definitely dig that these things are oil filled. It really makes the truck feel a lot more stable. A lot more stable. When they're not oil filled, it's just kind of springy and bouncy, especially the hard body. I wish they would have had oil fills on the Bronco, because the Bronco is pretty bouncy. Just a little note. The rear shocks do have little spacers in there. Again, that's going to help stiffen up the rear. So not only is it a stiffer spring, but it's also preloaded just a little bit. Again, so that when you throw that trailer on there, it doesn't sag too much in the back. I believe the kit comes with some more spacers. But here's all our scale accessory stuff. Maybe we'll throw that on the body. I'm not sure yet. But you got your shovel, your high lift, some rotopacks. This is a tent. What is that, a little axe? And then these are our side rails and the roof for the side rails that go on the bed, basically. You just go right in here and put all that stuff on there. Pretty cool. Looks great. Check out some of the pictures on that. All right, let's look at the tires here. So these are TSL SX Super Swampers. Now, I'm not sure the actual size on these guys, the actual diameter. Let's go ahead and measure it. I mean, they're 1.0 wheels, right? Standard 1.0 wheels. But the actual diameter of these tires looks like we're right at 50, 58, 59. Yeah, we'll call it 59. 59 millimeter tires. Compare that to this guy, which is running a little bit larger, right at the 61 mark. Maybe even, yeah, 61, 61 and a half. Yeah, we can call that 61, I think. So 61s, 59s. These guys are glued on. Okay. They're not true bead locks, whereas these guys are actual bead locks. I don't think there's any foams in this, but I'm pretty sure there are foams in this. These actually have a 1.5. Yeah, I was disappointed when the AX came with glue-on tires. That made me sad. So I'm glad they went back to some actual bead locks here. And yep, we got some foams. The foams feel pretty stiff inside here, but here they don't feel too bad. I don't know. Maybe just trim at the foams a little bit if you want to do a little bit of something different. So I usually will take the foams and I'll clip at them. Actually, use body scissors. So I'll take some like Lexan scissors and we'll just snip at it. And that kind of helps reduce some of the stiffness on the outside. Because you want it to still have some decent sidewall, but you want it to conform and kind of get that nice squish. So yeah, we'll just run it like that. Of course, we're gonna have to do our other tires there, but I just want to feel it. And it's not going to make a huge difference, right? You could get tire inserts. Oh yeah, it does make a little difference. You can get tire inserts from like Flub RC, get some of their slime balls. Those are fantastic. These tires don't feel too bad though. They feel a little slick. They feel soft, which I dig. They're really kind of soft, but they feel slick. They don't feel quite sticky as I would like. But we all change our wheels and tires anyway, so whatever. It's all good. I'm not overly worried on that. But I do love that these are on bead locks now, so that's very, very happy. So you can put any tires you want if you want to keep these same wheels. I know a lot of people like to put their own wheels on there. It's one of the first things people do, customize it, makes it feel more theirs. But if you're trying to save some money, you just want some different tires, you can do it. You don't have to worry about them being glued. I don't know why they did this. This was a bad move, in my opinion. Because these are cool wheels too. Like I would actually use these wheels because I like the green. And if I want to change the tires, I can't. And not that the tires are bad. I mean, I could use these tires on something else if they weren't glued to this truck. So just something to keep in mind for the other manufacturers and for Axial. Like we all would rather have not glued tires. Gluing tires is a thing that, a lot of people do in racing and stuff. So I get it. I mean, I glue my tires on my Mini Zs for racing, but those kind of have to. Because you're going so fast that they'll just rip off of taped tires. And you don't use B-locks in racing, right? So you got to go on some way. All right, let's get this tire back on here. And wheel. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you're going to feel a little bit of difference. A little bit. So I dig that. Could probably even notch them out. I've seen some people cut little triangles out of the tops. Instead of just slits, it's little triangles, and that'll also really soften up your face and kind of helps hold the sidewall a little bit. And don't over tighten. Always make sure you're nice and loose. Oh, see, that's too tight. The front's definitely over tighten easier than the backs. There you go. Cool. All right. Just want to compare the length for you guys compared to the AX. So the AX and the Power Wagon are pretty close in length. They're close. The Power Wagon's a little longer. Okay. And then we'll get the Bronco. All right, here's our Bronco. You can see the significant difference there. Okay. The Bronco also had glued on tires. Have they always been that way? I feel like there were beadlocks before. Maybe not. Maybe they've always been glued on. So that's a huge improvement then, guys. Actually, let me look. Yep, even the Gladdy's glued on. I guess I just forgot that because so many newer trucks come with bead locks. I guess I forgot these were all glue-on tires. So that's awesome, guys. Good job, Axial, for finally doing not glue-on tires. Thumbs up. So yeah, you can see the wheelbase difference there. We have a whole line of videos on doing super cheap upgrades to this guy. Weights, some wheel weights on the inside, different adjustments to the shock mounting and stuff like that, just to get it to kind of perform a little better, look a little better, just with how it sat, things like that. So definitely check out our video. Well, it's actually a playlist over here, just on the Bronco. A lot of the stuff for the Bronco apply to all of the SCX24s. We also show chopping our top and all that kind of stuff, but gives you a good idea of what can be done with these guys for basically nothing, for free, just some ingenuity, maybe $5 worth of materials, to do stuff. We also have another setup in here, but we were experimenting with them, but that's not part of it. But anyway, definitely check out the video on these. And yes, the topper still fits on there, guys. Still fits on there. Pretty slick. Pretty slick. I was trying to find something in the manual, and I found this, which is how you get your transmitter into essentially program mode, so you can do your endpoints for steering and calibration and all that. So it's on page 6 of your manual, but there you go, just in case you bought the guy used or something and you don't have the manual. Here you go, you can pause. I was trying to find out what the other ports on the ESC are. You can't really see them here because they're covered up, but they're the same here. And what you have is your channel 1 or your steering. You have your throttle or your channel 2. Then you have your channel 3 for your rear steer. And then next to it, it says BR, which is what all the lights are always plugged into. And then REV is the next set of pins. I'm not sure what that is. So I was looking for in the manual, didn't say anything about that. And then your bind port. And then this little jumper right here is for your drive mode, basically forward reverse or forward brake reverse. And it's set to forward reverse, obviously, because it's a crawler. Forward brake reverse is generally for race cars and bashers, monster trucks, where you want to go fast forward and then hit the brake and not just go straight into reverse. That way you can brake without, stripping out gears. Because if you're going super fast and then you hit brake and it's actually reverse, you're probably going to break stuff at least on the big ones. So that's kind of the difference between those two crawl modes or drive modes. But yeah, I can't figure out what BR and REV stands for, or what the REV port is even for. Maybe if you know, put down in the comments below what those two extra ports are for. Like I said, I know the BR they put lights into, but it's a full three pronged port. So maybe it's, I don't know, maybe for a different transmitter, you can control the lights, turn them on and off, stuff like that. Maybe it's actually a channel 4. And then what is the REV? What's that for? Let me know. Comments below. Thanks, guys. Now we're going to get the transmission open. Let's go. It's pretty simple to pop this guy out. It's 2 screws on the bottom of the skid plate here. And then 1 screw on the inside. And she'll slide right out. If you can get your drive shafts clear. There we go. Don't lose that little screw that was in there. Okay. We may have to decase this guy. Do we decase it? Oh, we will. We'll do that later. Lightens it up just that tiny bit, but you do expose your electronics, so be aware. This has got a little, I guess this is kind of a magnet. It's to help reduce like interference to the electronics from the motor. Kind of smooth it all out. Now we'll go ahead and open this guy up, because I think the pinion size might be different on this motor. It seemed like it had a little bit better slow crawl. Not quite as much high end, but definitely better torque. So I think it may be a smaller pinion on this guy. So this cover comes off with 4 screws, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And there you go. There's your spur. There's your pinion. Let's count this little guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a 10 tooth. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. 10 tooth pinion on there. So historically, I believe they were 11 tooth pinions. So one tooth smaller, which means you're going to get a little bit more torque, a little less high end speed. But again, these are crawlers, guys. These are not meant to be speed demons. You can try to get the best of both worlds, but you're always sacrificing somewhere. If you want it to go fast, you're not going to have as good a slow crawl as something that wasn't as fast. You could do better gearing and stuff like that. Or if you want it to go faster, your slow crawl is going to sacrifice. You're not going to have as much torque and things like that, but you can go faster. So it's usually kind of better just to kind of focus on one or the other. So I'm glad that they made this a little bit smaller pinion out of the box so they have a little bit more torque. Especially carrying around a hard body. And again, they released the trailer, so I'm sure this had something to do with trying to make sure they had enough torque to pull the trailer. So hopefully, when we pull a trailer, it should be fine. All right, pretty cool. And again, inside here, it's all bearings. You can see them down in there. No bushings in the SCX24, which is nice, because some of the other guys do bushings, and man, I hate bushings. And a lot of people use the excuse, well, if you go in water, you don't have to maintain it. But I don't really take my trucks too much in water, at least not these ones. And if I do, you can just dry them out. You can throw some oil down in there. Even without taking it apart, really, you can just drop oil down in there. And mind you, sometimes doing that will attract dirt, but still, just dry it out real good. If you get it wet, you're good to go. But bushings, man, they kind of suck. Anyway, awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to put this guy back together, and we'll show some of the running video and all that good stuff. I will be doing upgrade videos, like I said. I've got a bunch of axial parts here, so I can show these being installed. We got new diff covers, brass upper link mount, some brass hex hubs to add weight, even some knuckle weights. So we're going to throw those on just to kind of show you what those are about. Pretty cool. And then we also have the Furatech starter brushless system, which comes with the Venom and the Lizard Pro. And this guy will drop straight into here. So we'll have a video on that as well. We'll probably do all of these upgrades in one video. So you can definitely check that out. It'll be over here when it's done. We may have it up at the same time as this video. If not, just keep an eye out for it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. That way you know when new videos do go up. And yeah, let's get some running video. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video on this guy. As you can see from the running footage, it runs pretty dang good. I think this is probably one of the best ready to runs from Axial for the SCX24s. Of all the other SCX24s, it's got a little bit more torque from that 10-tooth pinion. Plus, we got the oil-filled shocks. It's got the best looks, in my opinion, as far as details. I mean, the Bronco had really good details, too, because they're hard bodies, right? Now, it is going to be a little top-heavy compared to like a Deadbolt or an original Betty, just because those are Lexan. But considering the hard body and all the features included, you know, the removable bed, the lights in the body, you know, the mirrors, all the little details, I think I would classify that as a plus, right? It's definitely got more detail than the Gladiator at the same wheelbase. So if you're looking for the longer wheelbase, it's probably the best one of the bunch. It's got good tires on it. The tires are, I think, a lot better than the previous tires, especially the wheels. Those, you know, beadlock wheels are awesome. Yeah, and just the change of torque in that, you know, that you get from the motor, it's gonna help quite a bit. Plus, it's got the, you know, the thing for the removable hitch for the trailer, which is right here. So we'll do a video on that here soon. You know, a lot of it is the same as the old SCX24s, but again, the pinion, the shocks just really smooth it out a ton. So pinion, shocks, and then just this awesome body, I think kind of push it to the top of the list when you're comparing it to the other SCX24s. Again, if you're looking for a Lexan body, not a hard body, different story. Maybe the Gladiator is more for you. But I dig the details of a hard body. And again, the shocks really help kind of soften how this thing runs when you're crawling, you know. I think if you just add a little bit of weight to it to help counter that high center of gravity, it's going to perform really, really well. But out of the box, it's already pretty good, especially for just the box stock SCX24. The body, though, is where it's at. All right, guys, I hope you liked it. Hopefully we'll be able to show some more footage on it. We'll definitely be putting that brushless system in here and the upgrades from Axial to kind of just get that lower center of gravity and then get some really good slow crawl from the FearTech brushless system. That system's pretty cool because it just drops right in. As far as the electronics are going to go, pretty simple. You don't have to change out any electronics. You are going to have to move some stuff around and cut some things on the battery tray. Nothing big, but you can make it work pretty simply. And I think you need a drive shaft depending on how you do it. So we'll talk all about that in the video that we're going to do. So definitely check that out as well. All right, guys. Hope you get out there and build something awesome. Build a car, build a course, build a community, and then smash it, crash it, and bash it. But don't break the expensive parts. Peace.